Welcome to our channel today, folks. We're here again, 1st of October. Beautiful sunny day outside. Nice soft breezes and sunshine. The air is good, and life is good also. Welcome to our channel. Today we're going to talk a little bit about why we are here and what we are. Have you ever noticed that as the paradigms shift and change, people's idea of what we are begins to change? During the time of religion, during the most religious paradigm, the human being was seen as a creature that was created from the earth. They were seen as spirits in physical bodies, biological bodies, but mostly carrying a spirit. And then, during the age of science, something happened. During the age of science, we became more biological, a little bit higher than the animals, perhaps, somewhat lower than the angels, as they used to call it, but biological units. People concentrated on us, and we took on this sort of materialistic identity as being these beings existing in a world like in Newtonian physics, these little beings, these beads that were separate from the world, and the world was uncontrollable, but predictable according to them. We were all like balls bouncing off of each other, moving around. So the human being, instead of a spiritual being, became a biological unit, and as time passed by, when we came into the mechanistic way of understanding, more industrialization, more science, the taking on of Darwinism as almost a spirituality or religion, we became like machines. We could all be understood if the parts were looked at and examined, and even the medical establishment began to look at us like machines more than people. They thought that taking out one part or replacing one part or treating one part could cure the whole thing. So the human being became like a machine. Some even said that the human mind was like a machine. Some of the mechanistic philosophers and the early behavior modifiers said that we were not even able to think. They said everything, our minds, our hopes, our dreams, our fears, and even love was nothing but a set of neurons in the brain firing, a set of chemical releases that were taking place in a certain pattern. They said that's what we were. Aside from that, we were nothing. No spirit, no soul, just a lot of chemical interactions in the head. And that's what we were. We had evolved during the biological model. We were supposedly superior because of the brain, how the brain had developed to a larger size than most other beings on Earth, and our thinking capabilities were supposed to be much greater because of the size of the brain. They discovered, of course, that this was not accurate later on, but the belief held for a long time. And even now we are seen as being a machine when it comes to medicine and when it comes to a lot of the psychology, where they just say if we give you a drug, instead of dealing with the underlying problem that's causing you mental distress, we can cut that off and you'll be fine. And so we are still working on this mechanistic model. And we had a mechanistic model of the universe. We had a model where all of the planets and all of the stars and all of those things like that moved in harmony according to the laws of gravity and the laws of physics. And they could all be understood, and they could all be predicted. And now we move to another age, the age of the computer, the age of technology. And now, what have human beings become? No one has accepted this yet. But what many people are pushing now is that we are now parts of a computer program. We are all parts in this holographic entity called life or the universe or whatever, and we're simply moving parts, bits of AI in a program. Do you realize how every paradigm creates a philosophy about what the human being is, not according to any type of research? This to me suggests that they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know for sure anyway what the human being is. They don't know what reality is. They don't know why we're here. They're just guessing. And they're using the tools that they have to make these educated guesses, but just because they're guessing and using those tools, it doesn't make it true. The truth is that many of us know why we are here. We don't measure it. We don't use scientific formulas. We don't have any type of empirical evidence or statistics. We know who we are, what we are, and why we are here, because we have learned to bridge the gap between this, our human form, and the larger self, the one that has created each and everything, the one that is creator and creation, the one in whom we move and live and have our being, that greater thing that goes by many names. When we can build a bridge between the small self and the large self, we know all things. But guess what? We can't articulate all things because our vocabulary is limited. But we know it in our hearts, through our existence. Every time we close our eyes and silence our mind, we feel ourselves expanding, and we merge back to all that is, all that was, and all that will be. We realize the true self, and we know who and what we are. The finger, the hands of the divine. God is God, creation, whatever. That is what we are, extending down into the earth to create beauty, grace, love, and peace in many places where it doesn't exist. And so as we think of ways of explaining the esoteric things, and we look at the way they've done it in the past through philosophy, psychology, religion, science, material science, let us remember that the only way we can know the truth is through experience. And even so, if we try to convey it, we can only give an approximation, because our description is never the whole thing. There we have it. Like what you're hearing, hit the bell, subscribe, hit the like sign, leave some comments. We'll also leave a link behind on how you can get to our book, The Gathering of the Chosen, a book that is a mixture of philosophy, Buddhism, yogic sciences, psychology, sociology, and most of the wisdom traditions. Thanks for being with us. It's always good to have you here. Namaste, folks.